Before view, an input tag relies on the name and value attribute to work. Name is for identifying the input box and value is for storing user-submitted data. HTML5 has developed a new attribute called placeholder. Placeholder's mission is to provide an initial value for the input box. It will disappear when user starts to input content. The job of the three attributes can be done by the V-MODEL Directive alone. This means the V-MODEL Directive can do three things for us: marking the identity of each input box, collecting user-submitted data, and providing an initial value for the input box. So, how does it do that? First of all, the V-MODEL Directive works together with the input tag. Its value is a placeholder. This placeholder is used as property name in either data or computed. You have to pick one, but you cannot pick both. When the program is being loaded for the first time, property value will be retrieved and displayed in the input box. User-submitted data will be sent to the placeholder and replace the old value. When we need to access user-submitted data, we go to the placeholder property. Now, let's try the V-model. First, we need an input tag. Then, we insert the V-MODEL Directive. We name the placeholder message. Then, we go downstairs to the data property. We create a new property and name it message. We set its value to initial value defined in data. Run the program. We can see the value of the message property is now displayed in the input box. Then we type a new value into the input box. Turn on the console table. Type vm.message. We can see the original of the message property has now been replaced with the text we just inputted. User-submitted data is now stored in the message property. If you need to process user-submitted data, you now know where to find it. Let's take a close look at the program and compare it with our previous program. Can we display the message property in a p tag? Let's add a p tag behind the input tag. Inside the double nested curly brackets, we put message. Run the program. We can see the content of the p tag is now in sync with the input box. Let's create another input tag and p tag. This time, we need a new placeholder. We name it new message. Run the program. We can see the two input boxes are working independently. They will not interfere with each other. Using the placeholder name, we can differentiate input boxes. Lazy and number are modifiers added behind the V-MODEL Directive. They can help us control the behavior of the input box. First, let's try the lazy modifier. So, what can it do for us? Before we add the lazy modifier, p tag's content is in real-time sync with the input box. But after we have added the lazy modifier, we type new content into the input box, p tag's content will not change. Only with the input tag lost focus will the p tag's content change. Next, the number modifier. Let's type a random number in the input box. Then, we turn on the console table. We retrieve the message property and test it using the type of function. The result we get is a string, not a number. The V-MODEL Directive can also work with checkbox, radio buttons, and selection lists. Textarea is a double body tag. Therefore, you might want to insert the double nested curly brackets into it. If we do this at first glance, it seems everything is fine. But take a close look at the result. You will find the contents you type in the text area will not be sent. Next, let's try the radio button. Radio buttons only allow you to make one choice. We create an input tag and set its type to radio. This time, we need the value attribute. Set the value attribute to Apple. Then, we copy and paste the input tag a few times. Then, the key operation. We insert the same vbind directive into all these input tags. This means all these radio buttons will send their value to the message property. To make our program easier to read, we add a span tag before each radio button to mark their identity. If we select Apple, the p tag's content will be switched into Apple. This means the value of the message property has been switched into Apple. We click Peach. P tag's value will become Peach. Next, we go back to Data and switch the message's value to Apple. Refresh the page. We can see the Apple button has been automatically selected. We switch message's value to Peach. The Peach button will be selected. Now, let's try the checkbox. We switch radio box into checkbox. Unlike the radio button, checkbox allows you to make multiple selections. This means the message property will be required to store more than one value at a time. This means we need a bigger basket. We switch the message's default value into an empty array. At the beginning, no checkbox has been ticked. Therefore, the array is empty. If we select Apple and Peach, they will both be stored in the array. Actually, we get a bonus here. The array can also record click order. If we click Peach first, Peach will be the first array element. If we click Orange first, Orange will be the first array element. Next, let's delete all these input tags and try the selection list. Creating a selection list requires two tags, select and option. Each option tag represents an option. The value attribute decides what kinds of value this option represents. The text wrapped in the option tag is for users. We have created 4 options representing 4 kinds of fruit. The V-MODEL Directive should be inserted into the select tag. We still send all data to the message property. Because the selection list only supports single selection, therefore, we do not need any array here. We select option 1, we get Apple. We select option 4, we get orange.